Welcome to this grand final edition of the COLAC Herald Sports Match. I'd forgotten the title of the show, but I was just so excited from the football and netball grand finals at the weekend. Ben, you were down there. What did you think of them all?
There were some big results. It was exciting. There were lots of people out, considering it was pretty wet down at Central Reserve. It didn't turn away the fans. They were there in droves.
That's right. It was wet and rainy. Let's get stuck into the footy results. We've got the COLAC District Football Finals, obviously, and a little bit of COLAC Tigers action as well, Ben.
We'll get to that in a second. But for a start, Forest won their first senior football premiership since 2005. They defeated Lorne in a thrilling contest at Central Reserve, as we said before, winning by 5 points, 7-5, 47 to 5, 12, 42. Lorne had all the play.
What a grand final.
Lorne had all the play early, but kept Forest in the contest with a bit of wayward kicking. I think they kicked 6 behind before they registered their first goal. 8 lead changes during this game, Lock, so plenty of chances for both sides. Ryan Hallonen for Forest kicked his second goal to give the Lions the lead with 10 minutes remaining, which they managed to hold on to record a memorable win. As I said, Hallonen kicked 2. Chris Viola, Chris Parker, Jared Matheson and Johnny Hambrook and Ben Hood all with singles in this one, while the Lions' best players were Michael G. Gregorio. The VCFL medal went to Captain Sean Calcedo.
Well done, Cal.
Scotty Ganger, Adam Wells, Dean Calcedo and defender Brendan Hunter were also among the best. For Lorne, Kane Smart kicked 2 goals, the first and last goals for the Dolphins, while Ross Waters, Rick White and Daniel Hermans all had singles. The best players for the Dolphins, the veteran Lee Holmer, best on ground, along with Steve Oliver, Joel Tipping, Tom Stephen and Kane Smart also among the best players. So they'll regroup and they'll come back even stronger. They're a young team. They're
a good side.
Into the reserves now. Illawarra BAC has continued its reserves dominance in the COLAC District Football League. They defeated Forest 9-10, 64 to 2-4, 16. Kept the Lions to just 2 behinds after the first quarter. For the Bombers, Tony Walker led all scorers with 3 goals, while Nigel Plant earned the best on ground medal, and Xavier Prime and Sean Dell were also good. For Forest, Greg Giblin kicked 1 goal, as did Jackson Smith in a best on ground performance, while Al Manane and Chris Bootle were also solid for the Lions. Into the junior footy action now, Lock. In the under 17.5, Birregurra went back to back in the under 17s.
Saints.
They defeated Alvey 7-10, 52 to 0-8. So they kept Alvey scoreless for the whole match. I mean, the conditions weren't great, but still a great defensive effort there. For Birregurra, they had 7 individual goal kickers, and their best player was Kyle Driscoll. He won the best on ground medal. Tom Stevenson and Josh Weatherhead were also pretty good for the Saints. For Alvey, Jack Spence, the captain, he was best on ground, while Luke Moralia and Jared Groves were also influential for the Swans. Into the under 14.5 now, and the Saints just continuing a pretty strong junior football hold on the league.
Yep.
The young Saints won their 3rd straight under 14 flag. They defeated South Colac 5-4, 34 to 2-3, 15, despite South Colac defeating the Saints in the second semi-final. In the grand final, though, Roy Armistead kicked 2 goals for the Saints, while Zach Zadibel, who was the league best and fairest winner, was best on ground for the Saints.
Zach.
Roy Armistead and Ebden Alford were also among their best. For South Colac, Reece Barry and Liam McCarthy each kicked goals, while Wiley Brown, Tom McKean and Cody Downard were among the Rood's best. That wraps things up for the CDFL finals now. We'll get into the netball in a second, but I'll just take us
I'm ready.
Football Geelong footy at the moment. The second semi-final at the weekend, COLAC Tigers in the under 18.5 Colts competition. They will head into this weekend's preliminary final against St Joseph, the last year's actual grand final opponent. So a bit of history there, so it should be an exciting one. But they head into this one after a loss to St Mary's in the second semi-final, 11-4, 70 to 12, 7, 79 at Simmons Stadium at the weekend. So just 9 points in it. For COLAC, Lewis O'Brien kicked 3 goals in a best on ground performance, while Brody Finn had 2 goals and a couple of single goal kickers there as well. But the best players for COLAC were Lewis O'Brien, Matt Garner, Trent Theodore, Josh Murphy, Josh Sudsy Sutherland and Luke Cardinal. So, I mean, they're not in bad form. So hopefully COLAC can get back on the winners list this weekend. The Lock, bit of netball news.
That's right. Let's get stuck into the netball. Get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. Netball grand final. Exciting start, isn't it? I'll tell you what. Netball grand finals on the weekend. COLAC Imperials took on Illawarra BAC. Last year's grand finalists. The Bombers won last year, but Illawarra The Imps won this year. Sorry, I'm just so excited. The Imps won this year. They won 59-43. Rebecca Scott had 49 goals. Casey Johnson had 30 for the Bombers. Elise Howard won the best on court medal for the Imps. And Jacqueline Cardinal was the Illawarra BX best. Now, lots of drama in that game. Chelsea Hillman went down early, but she came back on. The Imps just too strong in the end, took control in the third quarter and got that margin right out in the last quarter. A great grand final win for them. It's their 5th in competition history. They're on a bus trip this week and they're just, having a few floss and whatnot and just loving life. B grade, Simpson took on COLAC Imperials, and Imperials had their 2nd grand final win of the day. The Imperials won 34-30 in a very tight match. Bridget O'Sullivan shot 18 goals for the Imperials, while Alicia McVilly had 15 for Simpson. The best for COLAC Imperials was Amy Ellis, sister of Brie McKenzie, and the coach, of course, is Jill Newcomb. So it's a bit of a family affair, this one for the Imps, while Michelle Christidi was Simpson's best player. So a great win there in B grade for the Imps. In C grade, Western Eagles took on Simpson. Western Eagles won 34-23. So Simpson losing 2 grand finals there. It's not the best result for them.
They brought home one though.
They did bring home one in the junior. Oh, don't ruin my news. Angela Boyd had 25 goals for the Eagles. Yolanda McVilly had 15 for Simpson. The best was Angela Boyd for Western Eagles, and Suzanne Spokes, the experienced Simpson veteran, had the best on court votes there. So not a great day for Simpson in the C grade, but Western Eagles enjoying a very well earned premiership here. Now, 17 and unders. COLAC Imperials took on Otway Districts. 3 grand finals, 3 flags so far. COLAC Imperials won this one 21-12. Jessie Busfield had 11 goals for the Imps. Paige Spence had 7. Bianca Whitson was the Imperials' best player, and Chloe Gray was Otway District's best player there. In the 15 and under grand final, Illawarra BAC took on Simpson, but the Tigers came away with a grand final win there, 30-13. So Simpson finally cracked through for a premiership, 1 from 3. It's not a bad result in the end, probably not the result you want, but who knows. Emily Dynhoven had 19 goals for Simpson. Ellie Flanagan had 8 goals for Illawarra BAC. Zoe Ulwand was Simpson's best player, and Shaylee Woods was the Bombers' best player. And in the 13 and unders, Lorne had only 1 team in the netball grand finals, but that team prevailed against COLAC Imperials 23-19. So well done to those girls, the Dolphins girls down there. Marley Gallagher had 12 goals for Lorne. Renee Henry had 10 goals for the Imperials. Chloe Broderick was Lorne's best, and Tara Morrissey was the Imps' best. So well done to all those grand final teams in the COLAC District Football League Netball Association. That's a bit of a mouthful as always. COLAC Tigers news now. The COLAC Tigers B grade season ended, coached by our very own COLAC Herald's very own Kelsey Jeffries. She didn't have much luck in this one. 55-44 was the final score. Nicole Mitchell had 21 goals for COLAC, and Stacey McCarthy was COLAC's best player, but it wasn't enough to get them over the line against Bell Park. In the 17 and under section 1, Kelsey Jeffries coaches this team as well. Unfortunately, they didn't get over the line either. You can't blame the coach, let's make that very clear. 27-18 was the final score. St Joseph's defeated COLAC. COLAC's Courtney Garner had 9 goals, and Ellie McGuan was COLAC's best player in the 17 and under Division 1 final there. So their season is over as well. Better news in the 15s. COLAC defeated St Mary's 34-28. COLAC's Cara Allen had 18 goals, and Riley Stevens was COLAC's best player. They have the week off and they play in the grand final in a fortnight. So that's exciting stuff for the 15s there. And also good news in the 13s. COLAC defeated Grovedale 36-20, so a great win there. COLAC's Prue Stewart did all the goal scoring. She scored 25 goals. She did, her part of the goal scoring, 25 goals. Monica Hammond was COLAC's best player, and they play St Mary's in this week's preliminary final at Corio Leisure Time Centre. Now, COLAC Herald Sportsman of the Week time. It's probably our last one for a while. Who knows? We might see you next week. We're not sure yet. Who's won it, Ben? I think it's one of our football stars.
That's right. We're giving it to this year's VCFL medalist, Sean Cowlishaw. Now, I mean, some people thought maybe the medal deserved to go. Some other people, obviously, Sean was one of them. He thought Scotty Gainsey was the best in the game. But I think if you're going to award the medal, it's got to be someone who's been consistent all final series. And Sean has been among the Lions' best in all 3 of their finals matches. He had a bit of a medical condition. Actually had a twisted testicle.
Twisted nut.
Which is... I suppose not a very common condition in football, but he got that fixed up. He came back. Maybe went against doctor's orders, but but I'm sure his teammates are glad he did, because he come through and he started in the grand final win. So well done to Sean. Very well deserving.
Brave, talented, tough. They're all ways you can describe Sean Calcino. That's it from Ben Martin and myself, Lachlan Cowlishaw. Thanks for tuning in. We might see you next week, we might not, but well done to all the grand final winners, and commiserations to all the grand final losers. See you later.
Bye.